Hi there YouTube, XtremeTrainz here. So in front of me you can see the third revision in 3 years of the diecast series of Thomas & Friends, and that is Thomas & Friends Trackmaster Push Along. This is going to become such a mouthful, and it's the Thomas and the Windmill, I assume, semi-starter set. These have just started appearing at retail in Australia, specifically Kmart Australia. I've seen these in, and I've also seen the bigger version, which is Thomas's mail delivery, I think, or Percy's, no, the Percy one. Percy's cargo drop or something, appearing in Target Australia as well. So we're going to take a look at this set. We're going to do some comparisons to the two previous lines and also some other Thomas lines, and let's really see what the heck is going on with this Thomas diecast range, which has really been in flux since, you know, we had the change from the original smart magnets to the dumb magnets, which was, to be honest, the beginning of the end of this line, it seems. So what are we waiting for? Let's do it. So as you can see, this is packaged in with a Thomas and Trackmaster branding. It says push along there, 3 to 7. We've got the new logo here, which has Nia, Thomas, and Percy. Thomas and the Windmill includes this. Wow. More of the logo on the side. You get, obviously, the little Thomas here on the top. You got this little picture on the back. Perfect set to begin your adventure. Can use Trackmaster engines. Unassembled. No tool assembly required. Push along and motorized engines work together on Trackmaster track. Woo! Also available, metal engines. Noting I haven't seen any of the individual engines yet, but yes, as you can see from here, they are coming soon. And what we get here is a little list of the pieces, 7+ pieces. You mean 8 pieces? There's 8 pieces actually right here, and you said 7+, but okay! Alright, what are you waiting for? Let's get this open. Alright, so what do we actually get in this set? First of all, we get the new Push Along Trackmaster Thomas. So, this essentially looks like a Thomas Adventures Thomas, but he's got some few changes. The first, obviously, is the new coupling system, fixed coupling at the back, and a little, you know, clicky hook at the front. He's got the really wide wheelbase. As you can see, it's very wide. It does look very silly. From the side, you can't really tell, but from the front, Thomas looks like he's eating too much to give him the really wide wheels to work on this track system. Otherwise, it's very similar details. The squashed cab is back. Funnel, you know, the small funnel, the smushed dome. Nothing on the back as per standard. So very, very similar detailing to the Thomas that came before. I'll do a direct comparison in another video. But yeah, you can see here, that's what you get. Hello, with this one, so there. So that's just that basic Thomas die-cast. Again, I think it's just this top part that's die-cast and the rest of it is all plastic. You also get the Windmill, which is hollow around the back, which is pretty sad, to be honest. Licensing information from 2013, so they must have done this before. Comes pre-assembled like this. It does actually spin up quite nicely, looks alright. Again, I think it looks fine, and the stickers are nice. It's just sad that it's so empty on the back. If it was filled in all the way and had, like, pictures on the back, I think that would be really nice, because obviously in a loop set, you're going to go all the way around and see the back of the Windmill. Speaking of the loop set, what track do you actually get? You get enough to make a loop, which is actually, I think, pretty decently sized, to be honest. And I think, I don't have enough Trackmaster track to know, but I think this is actually a new type of curve piece for Trackmaster. The big curve, I haven't seen it before. None of the curves I have in the small amount of Trackmaster I've looked at on this channel have had these big curves that are quite the same, so they are a little bit different, which is interesting. Although it's good to see some more variety in track pieces for Trackmaster. It is compatible with the normal Trackmaster, as you can see, but obviously this is now also compatible with these engines. So they run on the track, and the track has obviously got those little grooves in it for the motorized engines to key into. So you can hear it's quite a noisy track system now. Which is interesting, and Thomas also has a lot of wiggle room, because he's, you know, even though he's got the bigger wheelbase, it's still a lot of wiggle room for him to kind of scooch around on the track. He doesn't sit snug in any way on here. But yes, it is actually a decent amount of track you do get with this set. Let's just confirm, yes, Thomas Wood will work on this track as we would expect it to, but if we come back to something like Thomas Adventures, no. Thomas Adventures is not going to work on this track no matter how hard you try. He's just not going to sit on it properly. So, that is this Thomas and the Windmill starter set. But what about the comparison to the other Thomas engines? So you can see here a bit of a chronology. This is the Thomas Dumb Magnet Smushed Take and Play. This is Thomas Adventures. And this is the Thomas Push Along Trackmaster. You can see now that these two are obviously quite similar. Again, a similar design for Thomas, but he is actually larger in nearly every dimension. So obviously his wheelbase is wider. It's also now a bit longer. He's also a little bit taller, which is interesting. Everything's just a little bit taller. He's actually got these additional details on the front here with the black little, I don't know what you call them, supporting bits that actually do come out across his front, where previously we didn't have those. They weren't actually molded in on the these engines. Otherwise, you know, the details are pretty much the same. No more painted buffers still. The wheels are also bigger too. They're not just wider. They're also a bigger sized wheel. So yeah, it is a similar, very similar design in terms of the shapes and everything that they've been using, but he is a bit bigger. The dimensions are not exactly the same. Now, some people have said, can you connect them? Like, you can kind of do this, although it's very like tight, so I don't know how long that's going to last on these coupling hooks. And then, can you do this? You can still also do this, which is good, but again, it does feel quite tight, so I don't know if that's going to be bad for these little coupling hooks as well, but you can do it. So these do actually talk to each other to some extent. As you can see, it's pretty difficult to, yeah, once you get it in, it goes in, but it is quite difficult. So you can couple these together, but obviously you can't use this on the new track. I don't have any of the Take and Play or Adventures track, so I don't know if these Thomas engines will work on it. I have a feeling they probably will, but they also might be too wide, which I guess is something to think about. But yeah, you can see that he's still quite a bit smaller than a Thomas Wood engine, but he is bigger than his Trackmaster, his Take and Play and Adventures counterparts. So, in terms of the Thomas redesign, look, I think all of these Thomases have not looked perfect. I think this one is definitely a downgrade looks-wise than this one, because the couplings are, this is definitely more obtrusive to me than just a little hook was. He's more weirdly scaled than this one was. His wheels on this one are weirdly big and weirdly wide, whereas this one, at least, they were small and narrow as they should be and underneath his running board. So I definitely think aesthetically, the new Thomas Trackmaster Push Along, even for the tank engines, is a downgrade. For the tender engines, they look awful. I may pick some up just to laugh at them, but they are really not very nice looking, especially the bigger engines. The way they've done them is just really, really bad. Classic Mattel. Making something for like a year and a half and then they break it. So yes, in terms of this redesign, not a big fan. Is it good that it can work with Trackmaster? I guess, but also, do we need that? Probably not. And if anything, I think it's going to be far more confusing for people, particularly parents, who mind shock Mattel are the ones who buy most of these toys, because the target market do not have money, they do not have capacity to get to a shopping center to buy these for themselves. So most of the people buying Thomas toys are parents of children who like Thomas the Tank Engine, are going to be really confused when they're trying to explain for Christmases, for birthdays, when kids are trying to explain what they want. I want a Thomas Trackmaster used to mean one thing, and now it means two different things. There are two Thomas Trackmasters at the same time that are both called Trackmaster, and I think that's really confusing for parents, and it didn't need to be that way. You know, they could have made these compatible with Thomas Trackmaster, and it kind of already was a little bit compatible with them without calling it Trackmaster. I think that makes it really confusing. So that's my thoughts on the Thomas redesign. Now, let's go back to the set we started this video with. So, what do I think about this Thomas Trackmaster Push Along Thomas and the Windmill set? For a set that cost me $10 in Australia, yes, $10, I think it was pretty reasonably priced, considering you get an engine, which retails usually for about $4 or $5, plus you get the loop of track, plus you get the little accessory. I think the price itself is okay. I think the contents are okay. It'd be nice to get some straight pieces as well, but you do get a decently sized loop of track because you have those bigger curve pieces rather than the smaller ones that are included in a lot of the actual motorized Trackmaster sets. But again, as I said, I think it's really confusing that these are called the same thing, particularly because it doesn't say Trackmaster push along. It says push along here, which I think is really poorly done. It should at least be Trackmaster push along or Trackmaster motorized, so you can see straight away. Because I think plenty of people are going to buy these thinking they are the same ones as from before, and they are not the same ones. It's going to be very confusing. So again, as a set, it's a fine value set if you like the new system. But as I just talked about in that comparison, I think this new Trackmaster push along is a downgrade from Thomas Adventures, which in itself was a downgrade from the original take-alongs, which is arguably a downgrade from the XtremeTrainz. So this isn't an upgrade by any chance. It's at best a side grade, but yes, if you are wanting to start your collection in this set, if you want to get Thomas and some more Trackmaster track, maybe for your other Trackmaster trains, then I think this is a fine set to get, and you do get a nice little accessory piece, which is always fun. But that they are only my thoughts on this. Obviously, I love to hear what you guys have to say. Let me know your thoughts about Thomas Trackmaster, particularly push along. I think I can guess what most people are going to say, but you know, I'm always willing to be surprised. Some people like me actually like the Thomas Wood aesthetic and are a little bit sad that they got rid of that when I think that the bigger problem was just the way they designed the new engines. But conversation for another video. So thanks for doing those cool things on YouTube, guys. Keep doing them. That's what we have time for. This is XtremeTrainz.